Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins in US history, the United States $quarter from 1776 to 1976. Now, you might think, a quarter? What's so special about that? But trust me, this coin is much more than just pocket change. It's a symbol of American history, and for the right collector, it could be worth a small fortune. The 1776 to 1976 quarter was released to celebrate the Bicentennial of the United States, marking 2 centuries since the signing of the Declaration of Independence. The U.S. Mint issued this coin as part of a commemorative series, and little did they know at the time, these quarters would become some of the most sought-after and rare coins in modern American numismatics. So, what makes the 1976 quarter stand out? Let's talk about the history, design, rarity, and the incredible errors that have made these coins so valuable. The design of this special quarter is rich with meaning. On the obverse, we have the familiar profile of George Washington, created by sculptor John Flanagan, but with a twist. This time, the coin features a bold dual date, showing both 1776 and 1976. This was done to emphasize the bicentennial, as a direct nod to the year of America's independence. On the reverse, you'll find a stunning portrayal of the Liberty Bell with the moon in the background. This represents the ideals of freedom and the connection between the past and the future. It's a design that perfectly captures the spirit of the country at the time, but while the design is amazing, what really makes these coins special is their rarity and the errors that have cropped up. You see, most of these coins were minted for circulation, but over time, only a small number of them have survived in pristine condition. As a result, these coins have become increasingly difficult to find, especially the ones that are free of wear, scratches, or any sort of damage. Collectors are drawn to the 1776 to 1976 quarter for a few reasons, but the most significant factor is its minting errors. These errors can occur during the manufacturing process, and when they do, they create unique variations of the coin that can be worth significantly more than their standard counterparts. One of the most famous errors found in these quarters is the no mint mark error. Normally, quarters from this era will have a mint mark indicating where they were made, such as D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But a very small number of these 1976 quarters were struck without any mint mark at all, making them a rare find and highly sought after by collectors. Coins without a mint mark are usually worth much more than their standard counterparts because they are a true anomaly. Another sought-after error is the double die variety. This occurs when a coin is struck twice, resulting in a double image. Some 1776 to 1976 quarters have a noticeable double die error on the date or the lettering, making them unique pieces of American history. A double die quarter can often fetch a much higher price on the market, especially if it's in excellent condition. Now, let's talk about the value. While most 1776 to 1976 quarters are worth only their face value, 25 cents, if you happen to come across one that is unworn, with the no mint mark error, or a double die variety, you might be looking at something much more valuable. The true value of these coins depends on their condition and any errors they might have. If you're lucky enough to own a 1776 to 1976 quarter with a rare minting error or one in near-perfect, uncirculated condition, your coin could be worth as much as $68,000, that's right, $68,000 for a single quarter. If that doesn't get your heart racing, I don't know what will. So, if you're a collector or just someone who loves the history of American coins, keep your eyes peeled. You never know. You might just have one of these valuable quarters in your collection, or better yet, find one out there in the wild. Top 2, we have something that might just surprise you, the United States $quarter from 1965. Now, at first glance, you might think, it's just another quarter, right? But hold on, this particular quarter is not your average change. It has a fascinating backstory, some incredible rarities, and the potential to make you a lot of money. Yes, you heard that right, this coin could be worth a small fortune. the 1965 quarter is one of the most intriguing coins in U.S. numismatics. Why? Because it was minted during a time of massive change for the U.S. currency system. In 1965, the U.S. government made a bold decision to eliminate silver from most of its coinage due to rising silver prices and shortages. The decision to switch from 90% silver to a clad composition marked the beginning of a new era in U.S. coin production. Now, while the 1965 quarter was made from this new clad composition, what really makes this coin stand out to collectors is its rarity and the potential errors that can increase its value significantly. So, let's dive deeper into what makes the 1965 quarter such a treasure. First, let's talk about the design. The quarter still features the classic image of George Washington on the obverse, designed by John Flanagan, and the reverse shows the familiar eagle. It's a design that represents strength and unity for the United States, which is why it has endured over decades. But it's not just the design that catches a collector's eye, it's the composition and errors that make this coin incredibly valuable. As mentioned earlier, the 1965 quarter was the first to be struck in clad metal, rather than silver. It was part of a significant change, and because of this shift, many collectors began paying closer attention to the year of production. While most of these quarters were produced in vast numbers, it was the minting errors that really set some of them apart. One of the most notable errors is the D/D mint mark variety. This occurs when a second mint mark is struck over an already existing mint mark, resulting in a doubled effect. If you come across a 1965 quarter with this minting error, it's a highly sought-after piece by collectors and can bring in much more than the average value of a quarter. Another notable error is the no mint mark error. Most quarters from this era feature a mint mark, indicating whether they were struck at the Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco mints. However, a small number of 1,965 quarters were produced without a mint mark, and these are extremely rare to find. A 1965 no-mint mark quarter is like finding a hidden gem, and it can significantly increase the coin's value, but the errors don't stop there. There are also clad layer separation coins, which happen when the copper-nickel layers of the clad coin separate during the minting process, leaving behind a visible defect on the coin. These error coins are often valued higher by collectors because of their unique and unusual nature. And if you're lucky enough to find one of these coins, it could be worth a lot more than face value. Now, let's get to the most exciting part, the value of this coin. Most 1965 quarters are worth their face value, just 25 cents, but the rarer coins, especially those with minting errors or in pristine condition, can fetch impressive prices on the market. Depending on the rarity and condition, a 1965 quarter could be worth thousands of dollars. The most valuable 1965 quarters, especially those with minting errors or in uncirculated condition, have been known to sell for as much as $62,000. Yes, you heard that right, $62,000 for a single quarter. So, the next time you're going through your change or sorting through old coins, make sure you take a closer look at your 1965 quarters. With a little luck and a sharp eye, you could be holding onto a coin worth much more than its face value. Top 3, we're about to talk about a coin that might be sitting quietly in your collection, or perhaps even in your pocket, without you knowing its true worth, the United States $quarter from 1989. At first glance, it might seem like just another quarter, but let me tell you, this coin could have a surprising value that will definitely catch your attention. The 1989 quarter may seem like a simple part of everyday currency, but this particular year holds some interesting details that make it stand out in the world of numismatics. Why? Well, for starters, the 1989 quarter marks the final years of the Washington quarter series before it started evolving into special designs in later years. As a result, 1989 quarters are particularly interesting to collectors who are looking to complete their Washington quarter collections. But here's the thing. What makes this coin rare and valuable is not just the year it was minted, but the rarities and errors that make certain 1989 quarters worth far more than their face value. So, let's dive into the fascinating world of the 1989 quarter and see why you might want to keep a close eye on yours. First, let's talk about the design. The obverse of the coin features the iconic portrait of George Washington, the first President of the United States, designed by John Flanagan. The reverse, which showcases the eagle, represents strength and freedom, making it one of the most recognized symbols in U.S. coinage. While these designs have been consistent throughout the years, the 1989 quarter is unique because of the minting process and the fact that it was produced during a period of transition in U.S. coinage history. Now, let's get into the really exciting part, the rarities and errors that make certain 1989 quarters incredibly valuable. While many of these coins were struck in large numbers and circulated widely, there are some that have distinctive features that make them highly sought after. One of the most common errors collectors look for in 1989 quarters is the misaligned die error. This happens when the die used to strike the coin is not perfectly aligned with the planchet, resulting in a coin with off-center designs. These off-center coins are extremely rare, and collectors love them because they are an anomaly, a coin that didn't come out the way it was intended. If you happen to find a 1989 quarter with a noticeable misaligned die error, you could have a valuable piece on your hands. Another exciting feature that collectors hunt for is the double die error. This occurs when a coin is struck twice, causing certain details to appear doubled. If your 1989 quarter has any noticeable doubling on the date or letters, it could be a rare find worth much more than its face value. Double die errors are highly coveted by coin enthusiasts because they add a unique touch to the design and are a great addition to any collection, but that's not all. Another rare occurrence that can significantly increase the value of a 1989 quarter is the proof coin. Proof coins are specially struck for collectors and are often made with higher quality dies and polished surfaces to give them a mirror-like finish. If you happen to find a 1989 proof quarter, one that was struck with special care and attention to detail, it could be worth more than the average circulating quarter, especially if it's in pristine condition. Now, you might be wondering, how much can this coin really be worth? The answer is simple, it depends. Most 1989 quarters are worth just their face value, 25 cents, especially those that were widely circulated and don't have any notable errors or unique features. However, the rarer coins, such as those with the misaligned die errors, double die errors, or proof versions, can be worth much more. If you're lucky enough to have a 1989 quarter that is in excellent condition, error-free, or even a proof version, your coin could be worth as much as $56,000. Yes, you heard that right, $56,000 for a single 1989 quarter. Imagine finding a coin that could turn out to be worth so much. So, the next time you're going through your change or flipping through your coin collection, make sure to take a second look at those 1989 quarters. They might just be hiding a small fortune. Top 4, we're about to dive into something truly special, the United States quarter dollar from 1974. Now, at first glance, this might seem like just another quarter from the 1970s. But trust me, this coin has a lot more to it than meets the eye. In fact, it might be worth more than you ever imagined. The 1974 quarter is not only part of a beloved coin series, but it's also one of the more interesting and valuable coins to come out of the mid-20th century. While most people think of quarters as simple, everyday currency, there are some hidden treasures in the world of U.S. coins, and the 1974 quarter is definitely one of them. So, let's get into why this quarter might be sitting in your collection or even in your pocket, just waiting to make you a fortune. First, let's talk about the history behind the 1974 quarter. The design on this coin features the iconic George Washington, who has been the face of the quarter since the 1930s. On the reverse, you'll find the familiar eagle, a symbol of strength and freedom. It's a design that stood the test of time and still represents American values to this day. But it's not just the design that makes this quarter unique, it's the rarities and errors that have turned the 1974 quarter into a sought-after collectible. What makes the 1974 quarter so interesting to collectors is the fact that this year marks a unique period in U.S. coinage history. During the early 1970s, the country was still in the process of transitioning away from a fully silver-based coinage system to the copper-nickel-clad coins we're familiar with today. The 1974 quarter was one of the last few years in which the coins were made using this blend of materials, and it was produced in massive quantities. So, how do you find the rare ones? Here's where it gets exciting: the errors. Collectors know that when it comes to coins, mistakes made during the minting process can turn an ordinary coin into something extraordinarily valuable. The 1974 quarter is no exception. Some of these coins feature minting errors that make them incredibly valuable on the market. One of the most notable errors found in the 1974 quarter is the double die error. This happens when the coin is struck more than once, resulting in a doubling effect on certain details. If you've got a 1974 quarter with a doubled date or doubled lettering, it's considered a rare and desirable find. These double die error coins can fetch prices far above their face value, making them a highly sought-after addition to any collection. Another exciting error you'll want to keep an eye out for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin isn't properly aligned during the minting process, causing the design to appear off-center. These coins are highly prized because they're completely unique. An off-center 1974 quarter can be worth much more than a standard issue, especially if the off-center design is dramatic and clear. And let's not forget about the uncirculated coins. These are coins that have never been used in everyday transactions, which means they're in pristine condition. Coins that are still in mint condition, especially those from the 1970s, can be incredibly valuable to collectors. So, if you happen to find a 1974 quarter that has been carefully preserved and stored away, you might just have a hidden gem in your collection. Now, the burning question: how much can the 1974 quarter be worth? Well, most of the 1974 quarters are worth just their face value of 25 cents, especially if they've been heavily circulated or don't have any noticeable errors. But if you're lucky enough to find a rare error coin, such as a double die, off-center strike, or an uncirculated coin in excellent condition, you could be looking at a mind-blowing value. The most valuable 1974 quarters with significant errors or those in perfect condition can be worth as much as $73,000. Yes, you heard that right, $73,000 for a single 1974 quarter. Imagine stumbling upon a coin that's worth that much. So, the next time you're going through your coins, or maybe even raiding some old family collections, make sure to check those 1974 quarters carefully. You might just have a hidden treasure in your hands. Top 5 and last unique coin, we've got something that will definitely spark your interest: the United States quarter dollar from 1998. At first glance, this might seem like just another regular coin from the late 20th century. But trust me, there's much more to this coin than meets the eye. In fact, the 1998 quarter has some hidden surprises that could make you a lot more money than you might think. So, why is the 1998 quarter so interesting to collectors? Well, let's dive into it. The 1998 quarter is part of the 50 State Quarters program, a series launched by the U.S. Mint in 1999 to honor each state in the Union. However, the 1998 quarter wasn't the first coin in the series, but it did pave the way for some iconic designs that would follow. It's a coin that holds a piece of American history, and it has become a sought-after collectible over the years. But what really sets this particular quarter apart are the rarities and errors that some of these coins feature. So, let's break it down and talk about what makes the 1998 quarter so valuable to collectors and investors alike. First, let's talk about the design. On the obverse of the 1998 quarter, you'll find the classic portrait of George Washington, created by John Flanagan. This timeless image has graced the quarter since 1932, symbolizing strength and unity. The reverse side of the coin features the iconic eagle, a symbol of American freedom and power. These designs have been part of American currency for generations, which is why quarters from this era are so familiar to most people. But while the design may seem ordinary, it's what happens during the minting process that makes the 1998 quarter worth paying attention to. There are a few errors and misprints that can turn an otherwise regular coin into a highly valuable collectible. As with many coins, small mistakes during production can create major opportunities for collectors, and the 1998 quarter is no exception. One of the most exciting errors you might find in the 1998 quarter is the die crack error. This occurs when a crack forms on the die used to strike the coin, resulting in raised lines or imperfections on the coin's surface. Die cracks can appear in various places on the coin, often along the edge or near the lettering, and can make the coin quite unique. Collectors love these kinds of imperfections because they make each coin one of a kind. Another important error to look out for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not perfectly aligned during the minting process, causing the design to appear shifted or off-center. An off-center 1998 quarter is a rare find, and collectors are always on the lookout for these unique pieces. If you happen to come across one, it could be worth much more than a standard quarter. Of course, not all of the 1998 quarters you come across will have these errors. Many are perfectly minted, which is great for collectors who appreciate coins in pristine condition. Uncirculated coins, those that have been kept in perfect condition without being used in daily circulation, are always in high demand. If you happen to find a 1998 quarter in uncirculated condition, it could be worth significantly more than a coin that has been worn down by time and handling. Now, you may be asking yourself, what's the value of the 1998 quarter, especially if I find one with an error or in pristine condition? Well, most of these coins are worth their face value of 25 cents. However, the rare and unique ones, particularly those with notable errors, die cracks, or off-center strikes, can fetch prices much higher than their face value. And if you happen to find a 1998 quarter that's in perfect, uncirculated condition or has an exciting minting mistake, you could be in for quite a surprise. So, how much could a rare 1998 quarter be worth? Depending on the rarity, condition, and the nature of any errors, the price could be astonishing. For a well-preserved coin with a notable error, collectors have been known to pay as much as $45,000, yes, you heard that right, $45,000 for a single 1998 quarter. That's a pretty big number for what may have once seemed like just another coin in your pocket. So, the next time you're going through your change, make sure to take a closer look at those 1998 quarters. You might just find a treasure that could change your life. If you found this video interesting and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our future discoveries. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting!